Yeah. What do you think when you look at when you look at great fighters, because you were in the UFC for how long?
6 years.
6 years. You're still friendly with people in that?
Yeah, I mean, my only really association with it is I do the show on Showtime called the Food Truck Diaries.
Right.
So we book the fighters, but my show on there now, it's just really, I talk about fighting and fighting culture, but it's more a lifestyle show. I don't have guests on there anymore. I save it for Food Truck. But outside that one fight show that I do, I follow the sport, but...
Did you watch Logan Paul KSI?
I did. Logan Paul's a buddy, yeah.
Yeah, he's a good dude. I did his podcast.
Yeah.
He's like a good... I think people... It's like one of those other things where people, for whatever reason, don't like him, but
why?
But why?
But why? Because he's insanely successful?
Yeah,
I know, but he does this... No, I get it. That's a bit of a character for him.
Yeah.
It's like the same way like people hate Justin Bieber. But why?
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
Who gives a fuck?
Right. Well, there's a lot of animosity. You have it too. People don't like you. Do you think that's because people feel like you're successful in comedy, and because you come from this other successful thing, they don't feel like you've paid the right kind of dues? Do you think it's that? Or do you think people are just like...
I mean, it depends. Like if you're... Yeah, I don't know. I think, but anyone...
Because you're one of the nicest people that I've ever met. Most, like a lot of comedians are not as...
Assholes.
I mean, really. I mean, so the reality is, and then I'll see like some of the hate you get, and I'm like, I don't get it. I guess it's because people are either jealous or people just have there's this weird thing with comedy where like people are like, this person deserves success and this one doesn't.
But
they're really invested in it.
But the market tells you.
Right.
There's a market that it tells you,
right?
That lets you know what your value is.
Right. 100%.
So the market decides what your value is.
100%.
Not these group of haters on the internet.
Right.
Those people don't matter.
Right.
So when it comes to me and hate, it's like I don't see any of it. I don't read any comments. I do nothing.
Right.
So I don't see it. But if people who I look up to, whether it's comics, other successful comics aren't upset as what I'm doing.
Nobody is.
No one.
No.
Anyone who's in the business
isn't.
No, it's only people who are dissatisfied with their own careers and their own lives who are upset because maybe they think I'm taking spots from them or I'm selling out Addison and they're not.
Well, it's also
not me.
They got to dislike somebody.
They have to.
Somebody has to be.
But the other thing is too is it's just like it's just their own insecurities, and also it's weird for them because. They might associate me as, who knows, maybe they knew me when I was playing football, so they associate me as a football player. Then when I went from football to fighting, they associated me as a football player doing fighting. But then they knew me from fighting. It's weird for them to see me go from that to stand-up. Like, well, that's not
there's
fair.
There's also this idea that whatever you go into, you kind of figure it out. And there are people that spend their entire lives not figuring things out. You're kind of figuring it out. You are figuring it out. And maybe there's just an animosity that comes from that. Like,
but I get it. I'm not mad at them.
Right.
I don't see it. So I hear about it, and then it's like, as long if I show up tonight and there's no one there, then
people also don't understand jokes. Like, they don't understand kidding around. Like, there's somebody came on the internet and they were like, oh, Tim Dillon hates Brendan Schaub. Because I tease Luis Gomez all the time. I said, I'm now a follower of you and not him because you have an Aston Martin. And it's literally the funniest thing in the world.
It's hilarious.
And then I go because Lewis is like, you should have never tried keto. You're not an athlete. Schaub's not. Don't take Schaub's advice. You have to take my advice because I used to be fat and Schaub was never fat. So it was like,
that's fair.
Because
he was big, right? I like Lewis. I don't have any qualms with Lewis.
But just then I say I follow Schaub's advice. He's the greatest comedian that's ever lived. And people online are like, haha, see, Tim Dillon hates Brendan Schaub. I'm like, no, it's a joke, you idiot. Saying that any one of us are the greatest comedian that ever lived is ridiculous. That includes anybody right now doing arena. Like
100%.
100%.
It's outlandish.
But people are like, yeah, it's a war. It's a fight. And it's like, these people they're heavily invested in that idea.
That's what they want, but they need that. Like
it's like a thing they need.
They like drama and like, Leah hit me up the other day. It was like, hey, have you heard this? Have you heard that, apparently you and I hate each other.
Yeah, everybody hates everybody.
And Chris was over at my house.
Right,
He's
it's
like,
crazy.
I'm like, I don't see any of it, dude.
Right, yeah. But people just kind of invent these things.
But I think a lot of resentment for some of these people are right? Like I came into the game and I came in a different route where Brian Callen's my best friend. We do a show together. He's a good comedian.
Yeah.
Then me and him go on the road together doing Live Fire and the Kids. So those were my open mics, these huge
massive
crowds,
shows,
which is
well,
a lot
I love
of pressure.
about your special. My favorite part of your special is the beginning of your special where you're in a mansion and you're like, the life of a comedian is just wild. You know, he's like, this is the way us comics live. He's got his own basketball court. He's like, this is just us. And then he's also got like a beautiful kid and a life. I'm like, no, this is not at all anything that comedians are involved in at all. You're like, it's just life of a comedian, you know, here in my granite kitchen, in my huge house. So people just get heated. They get angry.
But here's the thing. Like, a lot of people that they get angry because maybe they're like, oh, he the only reason he sells, this is my favorite when they go, the only reason he sells tickets because he was in the UFC. It's like, no. You have any UFC fighter try and sell tickets at Addison Improv doing stand-up. It doesn't work like that.
No, people like,
or they go, the only reason he can sell any tickets because of Joe Rogan. Okay, fair. How many people has Joe Rogan had on his show or co-signed
that are not selling
it
tickets?
Doesn't work that way. This is my fourth time here selling tickets. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely.
So that kind of story that they're painting right now, well, the only reason because he's fit, well, that works once. You might go to a city and you could sell 500 tickets. People are like, dude, he was awful. Right. No, I sell out more tickets everywhere I go. Right. Everywhere I go.
Yeah. Well, those people like what you do. Yeah. They like the podcast. They you know, the podcast gets huge numbers. I think that like
I also do tons of sets in LA. Also
of course.
Put in the work.
Yeah. What have you now? You have a son. Your son is 3 or 4 years old.
3.5. Yeah.
You have a real life. That's why you're not reading YouTube comments. You have real life to be concerned. Your son goes to like a fancy school. Do you meet celebrity parents?
Yes.
Is that weird?
No.
Do they know who you are?
Like we know who each other are. Like I won't say who it is. I get in trouble if I say who's at the school. But it's a guy who has played Batman. Love it. And my girl goes, why'd they let this guy in there? It's a fucking bum. I go, what'd you just say? She goes, why would they let this guy in there? I go, that's the greatest living actor alive right now. She goes, really? I went, that's Batman, bitch. She goes, that's Batman. I went, that's Batman, bitch.
Yeah. So. And then you hit her. But you know, what has to happen?
She's Mexican.
Do you, when you're raising a kid and he's going to have a lot of money, it's going to be.
Well, no. Papa's going to have a lot of money.
You have a lot of money.
He doesn't have a lot of money. He has no money.
What do you do when you're raising a kid in a situation where how do you prevent that person from becoming an LA monster?
I know.
The type of kids that we see on scooters, on Melrose, that have YouTube channels that can buy and sell me, maybe you too.
Probably.
How do you stop a kid like that?
You got to get him motivated.
Becoming a SoundCloud rapper.
I know.
Yeah.
Little Uzi Vert or some shit.
One of them, little whatever it is. I don't want to say any of them because then they've all died. I got in trouble the other week because I said one of them and it was a dead one. I'm sorry. It was Little Bo Peep or whatever. I respect them all. I respect them.
I respect the game. I respect the game.
Zan follows me on Twitter. Little Zan follows me on Twitter.
Shout out to Little Zanzan.
Right.
I think you got to make sure he's interested in. He has to have some sort of passion.
Right.
Like you can't have just like a weird kid who's just floating and doing drugs.
Yeah, just driving Dad's Aston Martin around.
Yeah, you can't have that. You can't have it.
You can't have
it. So hopefully he gets motivated. I don't care what sport he wants to play or if he wants to be an actor or whatever, but he has to have some goal, and that's going to keep him, I hope, on path.
He's got Or is being a dad great, or is it anxiety producing?
Both.
Right.
Because you're like scared of the world. Like you're just like, oh my God, man.
Right. You got to make sure that, the way I think about it, when you have babysitters, you have things like that. How do you?
We got a new nanny a year ago when we moved. I spied on her for 4 weeks.
Okay, see, that's exactly.
She go to the park. Home. I was already at the park.
Interesting. So you're just
spying on this bitch,
keeping an eye on her and making sure that she's good.
Legit.
She's legit.
If cameras all over the house, I'd watch them. I'd lay in bed at night and then watch back what she did with them.
Crazy. So do you want to have more?
I have another one coming not this Tuesday, but next Tuesday.
Wild.
I know, another boy.
One more.
Yeah.
Are you going to just keep going?
I'm down. My girl's Mexican,
she'll keep going. She'll throw them out. She'll just litter the whole house with them. Good for her. So this is exciting.
Yeah.
Do you have a name or no?
Yeah, but she doesn't want to announce it.
Okay.
I don't care, but
Is it a Mexican name?
no.
Okay.
It'd be cool if it was.
I was kind of getting a little
like
excited.
Marquez Schaub.
I thought it was
Were they
going to
like,
be
what?
something cool like that.
Like, what do you think?
Yeah, like
What are you thinking? Like Miguel?
what was that Mexican Disney movie, Coco?
Coco?
Yeah, like something like that, like Coco Schaub.
Ooh, that's fun. That could be his nickname, though. We just call him Little Coco.
You know?
You know, if you need, go get a potato and put a Marlboro Light in its mouth and watch that and then press play on your phone.